All right, and we're going live. We are live now, Vince.
All right, you ready to go?
We're ready to rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. So, Vince, I'm about
Hey.
to say it's your turn.
That's right. You ready?
I'm ready. I'm right here.
All right, here we go. Welcome to the Micheaux Mission, Two Men, One Podcast, every black film ever made. My name is Vincent Williams, and I am joined as always by.
Hey, what's up? Holla at your boy. This is Len, aka the Bat Tribble.
And this week, the second week of Mother May I, but the first week where we actually talk about a film that may or may not qualify as a Mother May I film, we are going to spend some time with the Cedric The Entertainer vehicle, 2004's The Johnson Family Vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But before we spend a little time in the car with Cedric and his family.
Yes, before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, we like to go over all of the feedback that we've gotten from each and every one of you that hits us up on social media at Micheaux Mission, joins the Facebook group at the Micheaux Mission, where this show is streaming live. It's streaming live in our Micheaux Mission Facebook group as well as on YouTube. We're streaming live on youtube.com/Micheaux Mission. And after some cajoling, I think that's the word. After some cajoling, I have gotten Vince, my esteemed partner here on the mission, to agree that for the forthcoming COVID days, we will be presenting our show live for you to check out, streaming live every Tuesday at 6 p.m.
So yes, thanks, yes, indeed. Yes. So warts and all, I like to, we like to fix some things in post, but now it's just we just live. We just live.
Which is cool though, Vince, because it means to make this extra special, the people that will be tuning in live will be able to see for the first time in full view exactly your rendition of the trailers. The original trailer tune that you sing for each and every one of these movies will be coming to them live.
It's during the space between our talking and starting the movie. It kind of gets me into the spirit of the thing.
Most definitely. And shout out to as again to every one of you missionaries who's checking us out. Aaron Fry, what's up, Aaron? I see you. Kamisha Martin.
What's up, Aaron?
Kamisha Martin,
hey,
new
Kanisha.
Follower.
Hey, Kanisha. Welcome.
Welcome, each and every one of you. All right. Let's start with the feedback that we've received via iTunes, Vince.
All right.
We got a new review on iTunes. This is from Shivas89. And it just
Shivas89.
Just came in yesterday, as a matter of fact. My new favorite podcast.
Nice.
Right? Just discovered this podcast and have already binged the first 3 episodes. Len and Vincent have the best banter, and I love their passion for film. Can't wait to go through their whole catalog and learn about the hidden gems of black cinema.
All right.
Thank you so much, Shivas. That's very nice.
Hidden gems. Makes us feel like archaeologists.
Well, you know what? Sometimes we do. You know what? When I think about that, that's when I recall films like Uptight. That's a film that a lot of people have slept on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's something that, just from digging in the crates, we were actually able to find, and it is a fantastic film. So hey.
The funny thing, one of my good friends is a huge fan of the Parker film, The Payback.
Okay, yeah.
You know the remake of the Steve McQueen film, but that stars Mel Gibson.
Yes.
And so we got to talking about Parker and the Parker novels and the Parker movies. And I, of course, brought up the score.
Oh, okay.
Not the score. Was it the Jim Brown Parker film that we just talked about a few months ago?
Oh wow! It's not I don't believe it's the score. Hold on.
Yeah.
Now I gotta look it up. I gotta find it.
Now see if we weren't live.
If we weren't live, we could do this in post, but we're live, ladies and gentlemen.
Right, exactly. So now we gotta look it up real quick on our own.
Exactly. All right.
Split.
What'd you say?
It's called The Split.
That's it. The Split. That's exactly it. That's exactly
68's The Split, and that's very much a film that if it were not for the Micheaux mission, I would have known about.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You know, I should note that the two films that we have just shouted out were films that I selected.
No, they're very much films that you selected, and I never bite my tongue about that. Like, those are my favorite films. Like, whether it's something like that, a film like Brother John, that was brought to our attention, which it's so funny. Like, I've been talking about all three of these films over the past couple of weeks. Right. You know, Brother John, which is easily in my top 10 science fiction films now. Because, you know, in my mind, it's a science fiction film.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. You know, that very much speaks to what I love about what we do.
Hey Vince, I just checked out another benefit of doing our show now live into Facebook and YouTube on Tuesdays.
Okay, what is that?
It means that longtime missionary George Carmona can join us, not by way of SoundCloud. He's watching us live.
Hey, it's George. I feel like I want to stand up and hand him a drink. Somebody get George a drink. And one of them party plates with like some wings, some celery, like that cauliflower from that vegetable plate, and some grapes.
Yes, and some grapes.
Yes.
So shout out, George. We see you. I also see you, longtime fan, Deborah Battle. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Deborah?
Okay. This week has been a week of some highs and lows in the Black community.
Oh my God.
And you know, there's been some long overdue social justice that has been meted out over this past week.
I mean, I guess George Zimmerman got arrested. Like, okay. Lots of people get arrested. It's a good first step.
Right. Well, let the people know exactly what you're alluding to, Vince.
Talking about, of course, Ahmaud, and I always mispronounce that brother's name.
I think it's like, is it Aubrey or Audrey?
Yeah, Ahmaud Aubrey. You know, right. who was lynched. Like, let's call it what it was. He was lynched by at least two men in this small town in Georgia, if not three, because I think there were three involved. But what's even more egregious is that it was covered up.
Yeah.
Like, let's call it what it was.
Days.
Right. It was a cover up. And as everyone has put quite succinctly, they weren't arrested because they saw the footage. They were arrested because we saw the footage.
Mm-hmm.
And these men have been arrested, but like I said, lots. You know, I think public pressure leads to a lot of people getting arrested until they're rotting in prison, or I'm sure Georgia has the death penalty.
Well, I hope so. It's Aubrey Ahmaud. That's his
name.
Young man who was
jogging
in a neighborhood in Georgia when 74 days ago, ladies and gentlemen, 74 days ago, he was chased by two white men, a father and a son, and it's not a younger son. This is an adult son, chased down and gunned down in this neighborhood with someone filming it. He says because he just thought there might be something worth documenting.
Sure, why not?
Exactly. And there's only and only now 74 days after this event took place when the video hit the public that there was an arrest made of these two men in Georgia. We're waiting to see, of course, how things play out in this case. In these COVID days, who knows when the courts are really going to open up. But it is good to see that their freedom, their walking around, their walking papers have been pulled. At least that.
Right.
And then in the world of entertainment, where we like to lay our heads, we suffered 3 great losses in the world of Black music, all in one week.
Yeah, it's been a tough week.
The first loss that we suffered, well, not necessarily the first one, but the first one we're going to speak of is Andre Harrell.
Andre Harrell. Yeah.
Harrell, excuse me. Yeah. Andre Harrell, longtime music producer and executive, most famously known for building the venerable Uptown record dynasty of the late 80s to mid 90s. A record label that gave us, among other great acts, Mary J. Blige, the Jodeci, the Notorious B.I.G., and the record label which launched the career of equally influential, and maybe some would say even more influential, music mogul Sean Combs.
I mean, he really was the architect of the sounds of an entire decade.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, very much so. The funny thing is we know him from our angle because he was part of the early hip-hop group Jekyll and Hyde.
That's right.
And he was in Crush Groove.
That's right.
I mean, you think about 2 of the 3 that you're going to talk about have been in films that we reviewed.
How about that?
Yeah.
And the third one is bound to make his debut on the mission any day now.
Yeah, exactly.
So Andre Harrell, we lost him way too young. I mean, that's the crazy thing.
Look, man, I know we started with an execution of a young Black man. I don't want to make it too morbid, but I've always said that once a Black man is over the age of 40, nobody is that surprised when they die, like of natural causes.
Right.
Like if you're a 35-year-old Black man and you have a stroke, people go, "Oh my God, really? You're 42 and you have a stroke?" People are sad. But look, man, we got to take care of ourselves. Not to say that Andre Harrell wasn't, right. but yeah, he was way too young. But unfortunately, Black men die way too young.
How about that? He died at the age of 59 years old. 59 years old. Andre Harrell passed away suffering from heart problems in the time leading up to his death.
Right.
And you're right. Unfortunately, it's not out of the ordinary for Black men in their 30s, 40s, 50s, even into their early 60s, who have had to undergo a huge level of stress and
hypertension, all of it.
Hypertension, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it's historic, the story of how the black population of the United States has inadequate access to proper health care. That combined with, unfortunately, let's call it what it is, the mythological, the mythological view that even black men have of themselves of like, yeah, ain't nothing can hurt me,
Right. Right.
I'm too tough to show any pain or anything like that.
Right.
Sometimes just leads to these things just sneaking, these silent killers sneaking up on people.
Hey man, I got in my wedding party, one of my groomsmen had a stroke and died, and another one of my groomsmen has had 2 strokes.
Wow.
Both in their early 40s.
Wow.
So everybody take care of yourself. Drink your water. Do your cardio.
That's right. Please.
Get your sleep.
And then another passing that rocked the world of music at the tender age of 66, Bessie Regina Norris, better known as Betty Wright.
Betty Wright
passed away. She was famous, world famous in the 70s for Tonight Is the Night, and more popularly for The Cleanup Woman.
That's right.
Which was, let's face it, that was her theme song.
Yes, it was.
She passed away at the age of 66. Another one that just came right out of the blue.
Yeah, and another one who is sort of a musician's musician.
Right.
Like your favorite musician loves Betty Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Questlove actually had a really beautiful, heartfelt post where he talked about how much Betty Wright had achieved in the industry, and how she mentored young musicians,
mm-hmm.
and everything. So that's and it's really sad because I have to say I wasn't a huge Betty Wright fan,
mm-hmm.
but there was an episode of Unsung like this season. Yeah. Where I actually said, wow, Betty Wright was doing it. Like, I need to explore some Betty Wright. And then, unfortunately now she's passed.
Yeah. I'm sure that episode of Unsung is getting a lot of replay right now.
Yeah, it's a good episode too. Yeah.
Yeah. She is a name that is certainly heralded in the music profession, like you said, a musician's musician. But one that probably does not ring as loudly as Andre Harrell or some other names, including the last one that we'll get to, but should be no less remembered and honored for her amazing contribution to the genre.
Yeah.
And then last but never the least, otherwise he will come back and tell us himself.
Yeah.
None other than, some would say, the arguably the grandfather of rock and roll itself, Richard Wayne Penniman, better known as Little Richard.
Passed away. And I'm some.
Unsung?
Oh no, you said some would call him the grandfather or the architect or the creator, and I said I am some. I am one of those people.
You would call Little Richard, who passed away on May 9th at the age of 87. Little Richard, who had fantastic hits, including Tutti Frutti, Long Time Sally, was nicknamed the innovator, the originator, and the architect of rock and roll. A man who had a amazing second act to his career in the 80s all the way into the 90s. You would say that he is indeed the grandfather of rock and roll?
Look, not even grandfather. I mean, I'm going to try not to go too far down this rabbit hole, but you talk about Louis Jordan in Jump Blues.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about Ike Turner.
Yeah.
You talk about Big Mama Thorpe.
Okay.
And then it's Little Richard. He created rock and roll. Like, go ahead, throw Chuck Berry in there.
I'm about to say, you got to throw some love to Chuck.
But there is no, and you say rock and roll. I don't know if pop music looks like it does if Little Richard doesn't exist.
That's
it just we call him, we use these words, architect of rock and roll, but like he's architect of popular music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, the chord structures and the melodies, and like Little Richard created this stuff. You know what I like about Little Richard too? I think because of how old we are, how relatively young we are, like we didn't really know Little Richard. Like we kind of knew the spectacle.
Yeah.
Little Richard, you know, he's doing this thing. That's early Little Richard is so raw.
Yeah.
And so sexual.
Yes.
And so like you understand how this reached out and grabbed young people. Like it still holds up. Like it's so primal. Yeah. Like this kind of early Little Richard. And you talk about, you know, I don't know, like the invention of the teenager.
Right.
And this whole just, you know, socially speaking, young people having their own culture. And you completely get how Little Richard pulls you in. I've read a couple of things this week. I don't know as much like you know, how Little Richard kind of queered popular culture. Like you know, he kind of, you know, played with gender and all of this stuff, but it was all very intentional.
Yes.
Like this wasn't somebody just playing around, and he never got his due. He never ever got his due.
Well, some would say maybe he did. I'm looking here at that he was honored by many institutions. He was inducted, of course, into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as part of the first group of inductees back in 1986. He was also inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He was a recipient of a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Recording Academy and a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Rhythm and Blues Foundation. In 2015, he received a Rhapsody in Rhythm Award from the National Museum of African American Music for his key role in the formation of popular music genres. And Tutti Frutti was included in the National Recording Registry of the Library of Congress in 2010, which stated that his unique vocalizing over the irresistible beat announced a new era in music.
I don't think they ever paid him right. I'm about that money.
Okay.
And I don't think they ever paid him right.
Okay. Well,
so
fair enough. Fair enough. And like I said, unlike a lot of his contemporaries, he is a person who definitely enjoyed a second act to his career, starting in the 80s all the way into the 90s. And at that time, he certainly was someone who was not shy of, you know, demanding his due and not doing until he received it. So,
that's right. That's right.
So he certainly played his part in trying to make up for any lost income that the system was keeping from him back at that time.
And from the Micheaux mission angle, he was one of the highlights of Why Do Fools Fall in Love?
That is very true.
Yes. Basically stopped the movie. He basically stopped the movie.
Yes.
Little Richard Tom.
Yes.
For it.
Yes. Yes. He does. He does indeed. All right. So so farewell to Andre Harrell, Betty Wright, and Little Richard.
This is the worst game of Jumanji ever. You hear what Charlie Booker said? The creator of Black Mirror. Did you hear what he said?
No, what did he say?
Somebody asked him about a new season of Black Mirror, and he said he can't make Black Mirror right now. Like, it's actually too bleak.
It is. It is. I mean,
this is terrible.
It is terrible right now. Exactly.
It is terrible.
What are you going to do? There is nothing on television that can compare to what is happening in these streets.
It's murder hornets. Like, how is it murder hornets in America?
I know. When I first heard about that murder
stuff on YouTube.
I know. When I heard murder hornets, I was like, this is serious. I'm looking around like, am I being punked? There are not murder. I thought, honestly, being a basketball head, I was like, somebody arrested the Charlotte Hornets.
The whole team.
The whole team.
The whole team is murdering people.
The whole team got warrants. Like, I didn't
know
know
what. You know what? It's only May.
it's still early.
So here's the funny thing, and then you can get moving. I've said for years that I am waiting for what I call the Godzilla incident.
Ooh.
Like for years, I've waited for the moment where something, like something actually comes up out the water.
Okay.
And it's like the Godzilla moment. And I don't know what we were watching the other day, and I said, yeah, this is the year for it. This is the year for it. Like if it happens, this is the year for it. So
exactly. Now, here's the question though. When the Godzilla moment happens, what will it be? Because to me, the second you say the Godzilla moment, that's the time when something comes out from under the sea.
Yeah.
And you see it making its way to the Golden Gate Bridge. It's got to be heading towards a bridge. There's got to be people like driving on the bridge and like some little girl just looking over the side and just saying like, look, Mom, Gajira. She's like, what are you talking about, Gajira? And then you just see this big monster hulking towards the bridge. That's the Godzilla moment. That's the moment when you know, oh, shit. It's going left.
I don't really need it in 2020. And I saw something else. I've been joking. I'm now finished living through historical moments. Like, I don't need any more historical moments in my life.
Right.
I need the next 40 some years to just be quiet.
Right.
It's like we did Challenger, 9/11, Katrina. I'm good. I don't need anything else to tell my grandchildren about.
I know. We got COVID-19. We got 45. We got Prince.
Right. We don't have to explain Donald Trump to our grandchildren.
Ooh. And on that sobering note, ladies and gentlemen.
This wasn't as madcap as it usually is during the letter.
I know.
It's usually more madcap.
It's a little bit more jolly, usually.
A little bit more jolly. And now for our film, Amistad. My cousin went and saw 12 Years a Slave and
I was just thinking about 12 Years a Slave.
She said, hour in, still a slave. To this day, I've never seen Pursuit of Happiness. Like I saw in the commercial, he was holding the bathroom door closed with his son. I said, nope. That's a nope for me.
You know what? I've never seen that movie either.
Yeah, I ain't watching that.
It's like, I don't need to see this. I don't need to see this dude running through the streets, like trying to pull up his pants to make it to a job interview. I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't need to see it.
So it's Will Smith, but he's homeless. Wait, what?
And he don't have a pick.
And he got his son with him too. So his son is also homeless. Everybody homeless.
And peasy. Everybody happy.
Oh Lord.
It's funny you brought up 12 Years a Slave. I was speaking to someone. This weekend, and they were going on about how they hate 12 Years a Slave, right? They don't think it's a good movie. And I said, okay, so why don't you think it's a good movie? And one of the first reasons they said, it was like, because it seemed like he wasn't a slave long enough in the movie. I was like,
oh my goodness.
It seemed to just pass by real quick. I was like, really? I just listened.
They needed more slavery.
Exactly. They did.
You might have a terrible friend.
They needed 12 days of 12 years of slave.
Right. It's like a 6-night miniseries. I think they're looking for roots.
And yet they can't watch when they see us. It's too hard for them. I don't understand. Anyway.
Look, man, look.
Anyway.
Mental health. I'm all about mental health. I get it. Protect your well-being, folks.
We invite you, ladies and gentlemen, to hit us up. Send all of your feedback. Email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com, or you can find us on all the social medias at Micheaux Mission, and join our Facebook group, Micheaux Mission, where we have a lot of fun talking back and forth with our fans. We'll get into a lot of the things that they have been sharing with us next week as we stream live on youtube.com/Micheaux Mission. Go there, become a member. We're going to be doing this every week, so we'd love to see those numbers click up real quick. Vince, I noticed looking at on Apple Podcasts, we are inching very close to 100 reviews. We have 96 as of today.
That is crazy.
I know. We're inching very close to 100 reviews on iTunes. So that will be what?
You think iTunes will send us like a cake?
A cake?
Maybe like some bear claws?
Maybe some bear claws.
Maybe some bear claws?
Possibly Twinkies.
Twinkies? Okay. All right.
Will you be satisfied with a Twinkie?
I mean, sure, why not? Does anyone choose a Twinkie? Like, does anyone have like you can have any vast array of store-bought pastries and someone says, I'll take a Twinkie?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm not a Twinkie man myself. I'm a tasty cake man. I like butterscotch crimpets.
I was about to say butterscotch crimpets. That's the store-bought pastry of kings. Pretty sure that's what Jesus ate. Look it up. Look it up.
Right before he walked into the Last Supper, because he wasn't sharing his crimpets.
That's right. It's only 2 of them coming in that little pack.
Exactly. And Paul was like, hey, yo, Jay. Like, sorry.
Right.
Go break bread. I'll be right there. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Ooh, it got dark. Let's go into our review.
It got dark.
Let's get to
3 dead icons, social injustice. I got a dead groomsman, but it got dark. And then we ended with slavery jokes. Slavery movie jokes.
Somebody says we need to try Little Debbie's. Not a fan of Little Debbie's.
Sounds like a serial killer.
Here you go with the serial killer stuff.
I'm just saying.
Let's real quick, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into our review of 2004's Johnson Family Vacation. Hit it, Vince.
Johnson Family Vacation. Johnson Family Vacation. Johnson Family Vacation. It's surprisingly boring. Man, I kept looking at my computer and it kept saying only 40 minutes had passed. I was like, is something wrong with my counter? Like, my wife had a meeting and then she came back and I was like, it's still on. But I guess we should save that part, huh?
We may want to save that for the review, Vince.
Maybe save that for the actual review.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready when you are. I'm ready when you are, brother. Let's go.
All right. Johnson Family Vacation, a 2004 American comedy film directed by Christopher Erskine from a script written by Earl Ritchie Jones and Todd Jones, stars Cedric the Entertainer as Nate Johnson, a family man estranged from his wife, played by Vanessa Williams, who takes his family, his children, played by Bow Wow, Gabby Soleil, and Solange Knowles, to the yearly family reunion, which he has not been to in 4 years. While trying to mend his marriage, he is also trying to win the family trophy for the family contest at the Johnson Family Vacation from his arch rival, his older brother, played by Steve Harvey. Johnson Family Vacation, starring Cedric the Entertainer, Vanessa Williams, Bow Wow, Solange Knowles, special appearances by Sherry Headley, Steve Harvey, and did you see Jason Momoa?
I did.
Was the choice of Lynn Webb. This second week, but this official beginning of Mother May I. Lynn Webb, what do you have to say about the Johnson Family Vacation?
Surprisingly a lot. The Johnson Family Vacation is, first of all, let me start right here. Cedric Entertainer is not a name that we should just gloss over. He in the, I guess the late 90s, he was one of the into the early 2000s, he was one of the more prominent comedians to hit the Black entertainment stage, along with definitely a contemporary of his co-star and longtime friend Steve Harvey in this field. He actually was a star of the Kings of Comedy tour of Steve Harvey, Cedric Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, and the late great Bernie Mac, that stormed across the country several years ago and actually was chronicled in a equally successful film. Cedric the Entertainer is a gregarious guy. He is a funny individual. He is I've never been a big fan of his comedy so much, but I've always enjoyed the personality that is Cedric the Entertainer. And what I've always enjoyed about Cedric, whether or not he's doing his comedy or whether or not he is acting, because he's been afforded more than a few acting opportunities, is that he's always been just true to himself. You know, he's always seemed like a brother who's got a very, good idea of who he is, what he brings to the table, and is not afraid to just go for it. And that is always what I found endearing about him. So seeing the Johnson Family Vacation, I was very intrigued by this film because it was a film that did not get a good review. Many of the reviews of this film were very, very poor, to be in fact. So I was like, well, I like Cedric. There's got to be some kind of redeeming quality to this. Then looking down in the cast, I see that Vanessa Williams is playing his wife. Vanessa Williams, who is an accomplished singer as well as an actress. How bad can the two of them be? Hetty, what you say?
I'm sorry. It's my famous last words.
I'm like, the film can't be but so bad if those two have any, type of chemistry with one another. It's got to have some type of redeeming quality. It's 2004. This is the age of Little Bow Wow. And this is the Little Bow Wow is in all his little Bow Wow-ness in this film. and he is a character, an actor, an individual who does have a certain level of charisma. Okay, Solange Knowles, the younger sister of Beyonce. Okay, she's got to have a little bit of that pixie dust that rubs off on her as well, right? That combination together in this family film has to present something that has some redeeming quality at the end of the day. And it all piles up into a big nothing. It is a movie that does not know where it wants to go when it begins. It reads as a film that is almost you're making the script up as it goes along. It starts with this Cedric the Entertainer and his son, Little Bow Wow. They're going to pick up his car, and it is a totally unfunny scene. It is just boring scene of them picking up the car and it being totally like pimped out because even though all he wanted was an 8-track player, and all of a sudden his car is coming by way of Pimp My Ride, which makes absolutely no sense, and it's absolutely boring and not funny at all. Then you are clumsily introduced to the premise that he and Vanessa Williams are estranged from one another and living in 2 separate houses that are around the corner from one another. And that there is some friction that happened between the two that led to them, breaking up 3 months ago. It was 3 months ago that they broke up, and yet in those 3 months, she has a whole new house around the corner from
them. Yes.
I don't know about how real estate works where you live, Vince, but that you cannot buy a house.
Well, maybe the house is rented. I don't know.
Okay, maybe the house is rented. You're right. But just three months ago, and you're already in a new house. The kids are split gender-wise between the two of you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And whatever friction is between them, we don't know because there's not any chemistry even in being mad at one another. They can't even pull off being mad at each other convincingly in this film. Let alone any type of romantic, feelings that they may have had or may have rekindled along the way on this long road trip. This road trip that we are led to believe takes over 2 to 3 days of them driving from their home to their annual family reunion. This road trip that includes not one, but 2 stopovers, and yet no change of clothes over the entire trek of this trip. So much so that at the end of the trip, they change back into those clothes to drive back home.
Yeah, they change. Well, I can't believe you're making me defend this film. They lost their luggage.
Did they really lose their luggage?
Remember, the truck hit them and the luggage fell out.
It fell out in the street. It didn't fall over a cliff.
Look, man, it's in the movie. They lost their luggage. Move on to the next thing, because you're not going to make me defend this movie.
Because they couldn't have lost their luggage because they still had clothes to change into at the end when they had to do this big stupid.
God damn it, Lynn! No, they didn't. They showed Solange going around stealing material.
I missed
They
that one.
actually showed her doing it because she stole the old lady's afro wig.
That's what they showed her steal. Somebody's afro wig.
No, they showed her stealing like scarves and stuff.
I must have fallen asleep by that point.
Stop with the continuity stuff. You gonna make me defend it.
I don't have to go to the continuity because this movie script wise is totally not funny at all. It has totally it steps on its own jokes. It has premises that come out of nowhere, that go nowhere. We introduced to the youngest daughter who has an imaginary pet. Yes, an imaginary pet dog.
Yes.
Who's introduced at the beginning of the film, and then she no longer needs the imaginary dog at the end of the film. Why? We don't know, because the imaginary dog is never mentioned again throughout the film. We have their daughter played by. So wait a minute. Before I get to the daughter, we have Bow Wow, their son, who wants to be a rapper, who feels like he's going to be this big time rapper, who that absolutely goes nowhere until the end. He gets on stage, and of course it's Bow Wow, and he has to have a scene where he does his rapping. Okay, that makes sense, but what doesn't make sense is that you cast Vanessa Williams, quite an accomplished actor, but also an award-winning singer.
Yeah.
And you get to the end of this film, which takes place at virtually a singing contest.
Yeah.
And she doesn't sing. Nor does Beyonce's sister sing.
Yeah.
All they do are asked to do the chorus behind Cedric the Entertainer, who cannot sing.
But is singing.
He is singing, but he cannot sing.
Right.
So that makes absolutely no sense. The story makes no sense. There's never mind the continuity errors. There's acting that is just absolutely painful to watch in this movie from everyone. As much as I like Vanessa Williams, she is not having fun in this movie. Cedric the Entertainer is, I will say here in 2020, I have seen Cedric the Entertainer in more than a few things in the last few years where he's grown to be a lot more comfortable as an actor. In this film, he is not good at all. And he's so painful that the jokes, while badly written, he can't even get them over. It's almost like he doesn't even know how to be a comedian. Solange Knowles, she's Beyonce's younger sister, and at this point in her career, that is absolutely the only thing that she has going for her, because she is not a good actress in this film. I've not seen her do other work. Maybe she's grown as an actor. In this film, she's not good. Bow Wow, a lot of charisma on the brother, asked to do a lot in this film and doesn't carry it over the finish line. He's not good in this film. The young lady who plays their daughter, their youngest daughter, who is played by, and I don't want to miss, Gabby Soleil, their daughter Destiny. She's good for what she's asked to do.
Right.
She's good. She's not asked to do much.
Yeah,
but she's good in this film. Steve Harvey. I'm not a fan of Steve Harvey. I'm not a fan of Steve Harvey as an actor. I'm not a fan of him as a comedian. And in this film, I'm not a fan of him at all. Here either, because he's just hamming it up, and it comes off as forced and unfunny. In his defense, he's brought in on the last third of the film, and I think at that moment the directors are pretty much trying to hand over everything to what they believe will be the chemistry of Cedric and Steve as friends that will get this over the finish line, but the script doesn't give them anything to work with And thus,
Exactly.
that's a failure as well. And it all comes together in a very sloppily directed film that, just like you just said, is very boring. It is amazing how boring and unfunny this film is for the hour and 36 minutes of its running time. It is just a real waste of time watching this movie.
You know, I actually like when we have movies like this because it's kind of a puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a movie that I think you actually can perform an anatomy lesson on, because you know, just to parrot some of the things that you said, there are some really good pieces in play in this film. Like you, I am surprisingly not surprised, you know, surprisingly, because it seems like he wouldn't be somebody who is good at this stuff. I've seen Bow Wow in at least 3 films.
Right.
That I like Bow Wow, like that kind of throwaway, like Mike, where he's
Mm-hmm.
a little boy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's not bad. There's a kind of post barbershop, very lightweight film called Lottery Ticket.
Yes.
He's not, and he's the lead in Lottery Ticket.
Yes.
And he's not like he's charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the camera loves him. Like he carries Lottery Ticket. You know, kind of a disposable film, but a film where he works really well. And I think he is legitimately good in Roll Bounce.
He is.
I think Roll Bounce is a good movie, and a lot of the reason that it's good is because of Bow Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So Bow Wow is a good actor who can deliver. As you said, Vanessa Williams, we've talked about her previously. One of my favorite roles from the 90s when she played Terry in Soul Food.
Yes.
I think Vanessa Williams is a good actress, and quietly, I think Vanessa Williams is funny. She was in Ugly Betty for a few years. You see her pop up. Like, she's actually funny. So this is someone else who does good work. Cedric the Entertainer is somebody who I have in my category of Black performers that I'm very frustrated with their careers. You know, it's like him, you know, we talk about Maya Rudolph, we talk about like Regina Hall, where no one quite knows what to do with him.
Right.
Like, I think he is amazingly charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is super likable, which for a comedian, I think is fascinating, because I think most comedians have that kind of darkness to them. Like you talked about him in The Kings of Comedy. And all 3 of them, there are moments in the act, and moments where you see them behind stage, where they were dickheads. Yes. Like, you could tell, these dudes have an edge to them, except for Cedric the Entertainer.
Exactly.
You know, he's super charismatic. I think he does great physical comedy. He had a show for 1 season, that Cedric the Entertainer show, that variety show.
Yes.
I liked it a lot. So Cedric the Entertainer, Bow Wow, like you said, Solange, I don't think really has done a lot of acting. But between Cedric, between Vanessa Williams, between Bow Wow, I think you have a good formula. And you know, I was trying to figure out what was it about this film. And you know what I realized? It's a CBS sitcom.
It's like the pilot. It's the pilot for a CBS
it's
sitcom.
The pilot. Like, you know, the direction didn't really do anything for me either way, frankly. Like, I thought it was just like it was nothing that was so egregious that it distracted me. And obviously the direction isn't good, but the script really kind of jumped out at me. And the script writer, Earl Jones, when you look at his career, most of his work is on television. Most of his work is this sort of middle brow. Like, he wrote for the Hughleys. He wrote for, you know, Dave Chappelle had this sort of middle brow comedy series back in the 90s called Buddies. He wrote for that. He wrote for, like, you know, the famous Jet Jackson and Cousin Skeeter. So this is a film that, frankly, reflects the type of comedy that someone like Kevin James has made a fortune off of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this should have been a CBS kind of show. And because it's so bland, it is just completely forgettable.
Yeah.
Like it's just completely sort of there. You've got these hackneyed jokes. You know, you've got the hot daughter that people are trying to get with. You've got the annoying son. Like there's a cop who actually eats donuts. Like it's just all this sort of. And there are two things in this film that I did kind of chuckle. Like if this is sort of a bologna and cheese sandwich on white bread.
Mm-hmm.
There were two moments that were like really good potato chips.
Okay. I had a couple of chips in
First,
this too.
First, the cousin at the family reunion begging for money.
Yeah,
that made me laugh. Like that actually was true. Like anyone who's been to a family reunion, it's that cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And Lynn, I don't like. It's probably completely inappropriate. But when Cedric the Entertainer played his uncle, who was talking crazy to Vanessa Williams,
yes,
Lynn, that made me laugh so hard. Him talking crazy to Vanessa Williams,
Uncle Earl, he was Uncle Earl.
Uncle Earl talking crazy to Vanessa Williams after an hour of almost falling asleep made me crack up. He told her, "Girl, you look like hot soup, and I got the flu." Oh my! Oh. But those are very specific moments. These are very specific characters. That it's not run of the mill. It's not hackneyed, and frankly, it's not enough to justify this film.
It's not, and as good as Cedric the Entertainer is in that role of Uncle Earl, and you can tell that he's having fun with it because he returns. It's a running joke throughout the entire
and
film.
Not for nothing, not to cut you off, I suspect it's not scripted.
A lot of it, I would suspect, is not. Or if it is scripted, it's Cedric writing it, having some fun, fun with it.
Or they do what they did, where there was like 5 or 6 takes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He kind of did things, and then they kept the one that was because. But go ahead.
It's funny you compare this to a CBS sitcom or just a sitcom. Just the fact that Cedric, has to do another role in the film. That is in early 2000s and 90s and early 2000s is black comedian comedy 101. You get the film role, and now in your film, whether or not it's going to be a film, a family film that you're doing, or the family TV show that you're doing, you got the role. Now you've got to get the hot wife, and 9 times out of 10, you're going to get it's the hot wife that you've always wanted. Like if you're a comedian, I've always wanted to meet Vanessa Williams, and now Vanessa Williams playing my wife in this movie. Right. You know what I mean? And
Steve Harvey said, "Well, I'm gonna get Sherry Headley from Coming to America."
Right, but we don't need to give her any lines. She don't need to say nothing.
That was terrible.
She can just be. There were actually about 2 moments in this movie where somebody actually addresses Sherry Headley. She doesn't say anything. She just kind of just shakes her head. Or Steve Harvey says something in her place. She does not say anything at all in this entire movie.
That's terrible.
It's terrible. It's almost like she said, she got the contract. She read the script. She said, "Okay, I'll do it. But do I really have to say anything? Because I'll be here."
Right. I'll be where I'm supposed to be. That's right.
I'll be. Is this my mark? Thank you. All right, I'm good. And just let that check clear. But it's almost like this is like black comedian sitcom 101, all of these bits. Because then he has to do the bit where he dresses up as a character. Then he has to show that he can do another voice and that he can riff a little bit. And unlike the Uncle Earl bit, which pays some dividends and does come back to kind of like round out the movie at the end, there are other tropes that are introduced and nothing happens with it. You talked about Solange's role. She is the hot girl that everyone wants to hit on. Well, not everybody wants to hit on her. It's just this one specific time when all of a sudden this faux Indian played by Jason Momoa, is a very young Jason Momoa.
I know.
Almost unrecognizable.
I think he wanders into the gamma radiation booth after this film.
Gamma radiation?
Right, because he actually looks like a guy that Jason Momoa ate.
He's still got a little Jason Momoa. I mean, he looks like young Jason Momoa.
Right, he's just young, yeah.
He's just young, you know what I mean? But they cast him for what they cast him for, to be a guy walking around in a leather vest, and that's what he does, and hit on Solange Knowles. But that happens for all of 2 minutes, and then it's introduced. I swear the rest of the film, until they get to the family reunion, when you look at Solange Knowles, she's asleep in the back of the car. She doesn't do anything else for the rest of the film. They introduce Shannon Elizabeth as this chick in the middle of the road that they pick up.
What was that?
Exactly. Who it looks like is maybe stealing from them, stealing like food and stuff, but that never plays any dividends.
She stole some Fruit Loops.
Right. And it looks like she may be a bit of a devil worshiper. That doesn't pay any dividends.
And also she worships the devil.
But it goes absolutely nowhere. All of a sudden they sneak away from her and you don't hear from her again.
Also, she has a little alligator.
And she has an alligator. Why?
With a diamond necklace. Did you notice the diamond?
A bedazzled alligator.
What? What?
It makes absolutely no sense.
I was like, is this part of this movie?
Apparently. Yet, while that doesn't return, even though we spend a good 10 minutes with this, this is no small thing. There's a good 10 minutes.
It is a chunk of time with Shannon Elizabeth.
It's a good 10 minutes with this woman.
Stealing Fruit Loops and worshiping the devil.
Right. Yet, they feel that the film cannot end until we wrap up the storyline of Stan, the study partner.
Yeah.
Introduced in the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
For no reason whatsoever, now it becomes the big bad of the film.
As it were. As it were,
because out of the blue, he all of a sudden knows how to drive a 14-wheel truck cross country, terrorizing people, a la Steven Spielberg movie.
Hey, Lynn, where did he get the truck from? I thought he was studying to be an accountant. Where did he learn how to drive trucks and get the truck and drive the truck and where'd that come from?
It came from page 10 on the script when it was written in. Actually, I think it happened on page 89, the next to the last page of the script, when they realized we don't know how to end this movie.
You know what, though? Cedric should have beat his ass.
Well,
like he got out that truck talking crazy to his wife. I was like, oh, well, there's the part where he beats his ass.
Well, no, because his mother beats his butt, and then Steve Harvey beats his butt.
Right.
But the movie was kicking my ass, so I was just looking for somebody to knock me the hell out.
And what kind of 1982 sitcom complication and conflict is it that he doesn't want her to take her CPA test? Like, I kept waiting for what was the, man.
What was the inciting moment They got them to get separate houses.
Right. Like, couples go through challenges. All right. Well, what is it? What happened? What is it? Like, what is it? And then she said that she wanted to be a CPA, and then I kept waiting for the rest of it.
And that was it. That was a bridge too far.
I feel like I'm watching something that came on after Perfect Strangers for 2 seasons on TGIF in 1985. Like a dude came home and said, "Where's my dinner?" Like brought out a TV dinner and threw it on a table, and it said "cook up."
And then went back to her actuary tales.
Right. She studied to be an actuary.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I guess there's a reason why this movie made it for Mother May I Have Another of those bad black movies.
And that's where I disagree with you. Because I think this movie is too bland to be bad. Like, it's just sort of there.
It's just there, but like we
it's
said,
just sort of there.
Like we said, though, but you've got 2 likable people in the lead. You've got Bow Wow. You've got, never mind what I think of. There are people that are fans of Steve Harvey. There are people that are fans of Cedric the Entertainer. The whole world's a fan of Vanessa Williams. You wonder, you put them together, you think you can have something that, comes together. Yet, because the blandness that is eked out of this film, based on the screenplay by Earl Jones, and I believe he had an assist from Todd Jones, and the direction under Christopher Erskine, it really just does not come together. And it makes for, yes, a bad film. This is not a film that it's not a film that, if nothing else, should be boring. It shouldn't be boring as it is.
Yeah, it's I never really understood why Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer didn't do more work together. Because I think they do have camaraderie. I think, if you watch, talk about a forgettable show, like random episodes of the Steve Harvey show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, always talk about something that's on if like you're getting your oil changed.
Right.
And you're like just sort of sitting there and something's like your phone is dead and it's on.
Mm-hmm.
Like they clearly like each other.
Yeah.
Like they clearly have chemistry. Like I don't understand. I never understood why they didn't do more work together.
You know what? I mean, they did a fair amount of work together. I would submit, and I have no way of proving this. This is just my sublimation. Is that, like I said, how Cedric the Entertainer is a person who seems very comfortable in his own skin. If you got the 2 of them together in that situation, as like, say it's a buddy comedy, right? Right. Just because of their individual physicalities, and because of the nature of the comedy that they do, and just because of the nature of comedy itself, Cedric the Entertainer would be called upon to do a lot more of the physical lifting in any type of comedy that they would be a part of. And I think Steve Harvey will be more and more called upon to be the straight man.
Oh, and he's not doing that.
And he's not going to be the straight man. He's not going to be the straight man who is not afraid to maybe not come off as funny because he knows it will service a comedy. And I'm immediately brought to mind Boomerang. Boomerang, Eddie Murphy is definitely the lead in that film. But you can see that there are moments in that film where he is asked to really subdue his comedy so that David Alan Grier can shine in a scene, and so Martin Lawrence can shine in scenes. He's definitely asked to play the straight man more often in that film, and I can't see somebody like Steve Harvey doing that.
Well, there you go. Asked and answered, because I think that's a really Really, really good observation.
Yeah.
I think you're 100% right.
I think if you were going to take the team and just looking at like that Kings of Comedy lineup, I think a better combination would have been had if you had Cedric Entertainer, and just from a physical, just the look of it physically, maybe him with Bernie Mac, because I think Bernie Mac could play the straight guy to Cedric, especially because their comedy is on different levels as well. Bernie's comedy is certainly not physical so much, and it just breeds off the confidence of his persona. I think that might have been a more interesting combination. But you're right, it's a shame. It's a shame because I do think that if Steve Harvey could be the straight man, I mean, I think time is not on their side right now, and time is not on their side. And like I said, Cedric the Entertainer has grown as an actor. Anyone who's seen his work in the OG, just name.
Oh yeah, the last OG, yeah.
The last OG, where he's asked to actually be, as funny as he is, more subdued in his comedy. He has actually grown as an actor. The same can't be said about Steve Harvey.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think we're finished with this film. We were actually talking in here last week. The last OG. I don't think it was the season. Oh, it wasn't the season finale, but there was an amazing episode last week with Cat Williams, and we were talking. Just, it is remarkable how good the last OG has been for like 3 years now.
Yep.
Like, it's almost a shame that it's come out at the same moment as Atlanta
and Insecure
or Insecure, because it's not as sexy as those two shows. But it really is a remarkably well done show.
It is. And it is also a show that is testimony or testament to what the power of good writing, as well as maybe a strong directorial hand, can do with someone like Tiffany Haddish.
Yeah, which I've noticed Robert Townsend and Keenen Ivory Wayans have been all over this season. So you're talking about seasoned directors, seasoned writers. I think Wayans has written a couple of these episodes. Like, these are seasoned, like you said, creators.
Yeah, and they know how to pull good acting from comedic actors. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree.
And grounded performances from them. Because let's face it, in the last OG, you have Tiffany Haddish, Cedric the Entertainer, and then you have the lead, who's, wow, I can't believe his name is just
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan. 3 comedy stars who could easily be very over the top.
Very, very easily go off the rails.
Yes, but
very easily.
But it's when it needs to be, it's well restrained, and it's all to the benefit of that show, which has, I would imagine, to a lot of people, surprisingly lasted these 3 years and has gotten increasingly better with each succeeding season. Yeah,
but the Johnson Family Vacation is not an example of good writing and good direction. But I guess we should do this properly.
Yes.
Lynn?
Yes, Vince.
Would you recommend the Johnson Family Vacation?
No. Vince, would you recommend the Johnson Family Vacation?
Not only would I not recommend it, but this actually seems like a film that we should ask the question we do sometimes. Up until maybe the last 10 minutes of the film, I don't even know if I would call this a black film.
Why do you say that?
This is a film with black people in it, but like I said, this feels like something from that, like Chuck Lorre?
Chuck Lorre, yeah, right.
Yeah, this seems like something Chuck Lorre could have created, and again, plugged in Kevin James and random 40-year-old white actress who rolls her eyes at his shenanigans,
Mm-hmm.
and then like 3 kids. And then you just sort of churn it out. It comes on after Big Bang Theory. And like you look, and it's been on, because them CBS shows stay on.
They never go away, dog.
Like it's been on, like it came on after Big Bang Theory and like 2.5 Men.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was on for like 9 years.
Right, exactly.
How is this on 9 years and I've never seen a whole episode? But, there's nothing really there. There's no there. It's just very bland. So no, I would not recommend it.
I would not recommend it. I would still say it is indeed a black film, though.
I mean, Uncle Earl's in it.
Uncle Earl, and there's a cookout.
And there's a cookout. So there you go.
There you go. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is our review of Johnson Family Vacation. Before we reveal Vince's selection for next week's stop on the Micheaux Mission's May sojourn through Mother May I Have, another one of those bad black films, we invite you to become a Micheaux missionary. Join our Facebook group, the Micheaux Mission. Please join us. Have fun with everyone that has been tuning in, watching us, and sharing all of your comments as we've rocked on, talking about how this movie can't do much with a poor screenplay. God knows that is correct. Let us know what you think. Join the mission with all of our fans. We appreciate each and every one of you in the group. Like and follow us on all the social media at Micheaux Mission. That's where you can find us. Email us at micheauxmission@gmail.com. And if you're having trouble spelling it, Micheaux is spelled Micheaux. The Micheaux Mission is available as a proud member of the Podglomerate Podcast Network, thepodglomerate.com, curated podcast for your listening pleasure. We are also available as a radio show every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. on WPPM 106.5 FM, Philly Cam, People Power Media, here in the
Philly Cam
and sisterly affection. And you can wake up with the Micheaux Mission every Monday morning at 9 a.m. on WKDU 91.7 FM, the voice of Drexel University. Okie dokie. Oh, and if you want to help us, there's 2 ways that you can help us, ladies and gentlemen. Two ways. You can either, 1, go to Apple Podcasts, leave us a rating and a review, because that really helps people find our show. We're 96. We're 4 away from 100. It would be really great if we can get to 100, because it just looks nice. And also, if you want to help us and help keep our show free, go to the Micheaux Mission.com, go to our website and hit swag, where we got a whole lot of cool design t-shirts and swag for your shopping pleasure. Check it out. And if you buy something from us, please hit us up in social media. Take a picture of what you bought, you and your shirt, you with your notebook or stickers or whatever you've purchased, so that we can share it on all of our social medias. We have a new social media director. Shout out to Toya Haynes, who's joined the team to
what's good, Toya?
Run our social media for us. So she is looking for all of that stuff so we can shout it out on social media. And we got a whole lot of ideas. She's plugged ideas into our heads. So we'll be building up our social media presence, which means that we'll be building up Vince's social media. Which way? That guy. Him, Vince. You see Vince, that guy. We'll be building up his social media.
Nice.
Presence.
That's nice one.
We'll be doing that. So stay tuned for that, ladies and gentlemen. Yo, I hear you. I see you on Facebook. All right, Vince. Next week, what will we be watching here on the Micheaux Mission?
Well, Lynn, while this is a theme month, because of the pandemic and because we are living in an Octavia Butler novel, ironically, we missed last month's theme because we didn't celebrate Octavia City, so we didn't do science fiction.
Right.
I'm going to do a film that I believe combines science fiction as well as Mother May I.
Ooh. This is oh, this is so cool because my film that I was thinking about going to does the exact same thing. So
now then, in full disclosure, I'm going to be really stretching the definition of whether or not this is a black film.
Okay.
Fred Williamson moved to Italy in the late 70s and early 80s and made some movies. One of those films is I Nove Barbari, which in English is translated as The New Barbarians.
Oh my God.
I'll just read the plot for you very quickly, if you don't mind. If you'll indulge me, if you will. In the year 2019, after a nuclear war, humanity is reduced to a few starving groups. A ruthless gang called the Templars constantly raids settlers in an attempt to exterminate everyone in order to purge the earth. A former Templar, Scorpion, along with his allies, prevents a small band of religious colonists from being massacred by the Templars. Directed by Enzo Castellari, starring a whole bunch of Italian actors. Fred Williamson, who's on the poster.
That makes it a black movie.
Next week, we'll be watching 1982's The New Barbarians.
Was that 1982? Oh
See, I'm a brink. We about to do some Mother May I. As well as some science fiction.
Okay. All right. I'm looking forward to this. I know one person who's not, but we'll talk about that later. But
Shout out to Scheme. She actually posted something on Facebook about a month ago where he said, I don't even remember the whole post. All I remember is the first sentence. He said, Fred Williamson moved to Italy in the early 80s and made some movies. And I said, yep, that's all I need to know.
Have crumb will follow.
That's all I needed. I said, oh, Lord, let me get off here and look up some stuff.
And he's had this in the chamber waiting ever since.
Yes, I have.
All right, next week, ladies and gentlemen, 1982's The New Barbarians, featuring Fred the Hammer Williamson, as you've never seen him before.
That is quite the understatement.
And we'll be talking about that and many other crazy things next week, live on youtube.com/Micheaux Mission and in the Facebook group as we bring the Micheaux Mission to you next week here live for your viewing pleasure on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Until then, he's Vince, I'm Len, and in parting we say,
we'll see you when it's time to meet again.
Have a good night, everyone. We are out.